All right. Perfect. Okay. I'd like to bring the town of Fraser's weekly what is it, board meeting together. Can I have a roll call, please?
Katie Fisher,
Adam Quickland,
Julie White,
Louis Gregory.
Katie Souls.
Peggy's online. And Brian Cirkvenik. Could I have an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moving on, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes for June 5th, 2024, and resolution 2024-0605, Kona Ice Mobile Food Vendor Agreement and License?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to open forum. This is for business not on the agenda. If you would like to speak, you would have 3 minutes to do so. And I see one person in the room. I think Todd's all set, and Peggy's online, so keep moving. All right, discussion and possible action. First up is the treasurer's report. Lori.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Again, my treasurer's report is just basically a quick snapshot in time to let you know how the town is doing. Go ahead, next slide, and one after that. Okay, there's your 2023-24 general fund reserves. In the dark blue is the reserves. These are the funds that were kind of in savings, waiting to use for projects. Those are in really good shape. Projects are about to begin. The general fund ops is that little bitty blue guy up at the very top, the lighter blue. So everything's just kind of cruising right along. Just a big note that as soon as we start getting the bigger projects going, that really nice dark blue one that I'm so happy is up there is going to start coming down when we start getting in the bigger bills for the bigger projects and the infrastructure, Victoria Village, all that good stuff. So hang on. Looking good now, though. You can go past that. There it is. It's new. It's improved. It's brighter. Sales tax revenue by month. 2024 is that really dark purple line. So June sales tax revenue is the May collection of April. So you're actually looking at was actually spent by consumers in April. So it did drop significantly from March, like it always does. You can see our trend there. The revenue for May 2024 is 5.49% less than 2023. Real close in there, but it's right in between 22 and 23. So we're doing okay as far as, you know, other communities seem to be taking some hits, but they've gone a little lower here and there than we have. So I think Fraser's holding its own. And we also had that lovely snowy cold month of May. And so I'm assuming June will trend higher. Winter Park Resort just opened a week or so ago. So I noticed an uptick in traffic. And I do have a big unknown. The Alpine Slide is not going to be in operation this summer.
Why?
So that might, they're rebuilding. They yanked the whole
Till
thing
at least
out and
August.
no estimated date
Right.
when it's coming back. I don't exactly know if that's going to impact our traffic that much, but there are a lot of families that the reason they came was to go for the Alpine Slide. So
To spend
FYI.
their money in Fraser instead.
What's that?
They're gonna have to spend their money in Fraser instead.
I know. Anybody want to run out and build a quick slide on the hill, you know, get somebody to do, what's it, the summer snow tubing thing that they're doing. They're doing that out at the Y, so,
Yeah.
well, let's roll them down the hill in big tires. So, okay, there we are with the short-term rental tax. The May short-term rental tax, the revenue that we received was down to only 9% of the total, but I kind of anticipated that we were going to get that drop in the rentals. So it was a 12.8% decrease from 2023. Apparently a lot of people, I know a lot of people that were still running up and skiing Mary Jane, but apparently they weren't staying and maybe not spending quite enough, they weren't staying overnight, staying for the weekend. So a little bit down. So the Federal Reserve looks like no reduction in interest rates till maybe the end of the third quarter, maybe the fourth quarter. They're still hedging their bet. They want inflation to cool a little bit more. So, but the other indicator is every time I'm watching the news, travel's up. So people are traveling, they're spending money. Gas prices are maybe just a tick higher than last year. So people are wanting to get out and do stuff. So hopefully they'll be coming here. And I think that the next report that I do for you, that will be the May sales tax, is going to be a little bit lower still because of all that snow and fun we had. So, any questions?
Did we refund somebody in 2020 in May?
What?
Just like a little blue mark right
Oh,
below.
that was COVID.
Well, I know, but yeah, but it's negative.
It was negative. That was shutdown. That was shutdown time.
Right.
There was nobody.
I know. I'm just wondering how it could be negative.
I don't question the numbers. I put them in. It tells me
I think
what
that
it's.
they gave us a refund. I think that there was a refund going.
There maybe was, there was some clawback, I think somewhere that there was some relief from the state to agencies, and part of the funds. I'll have to look at that because we did get some of the COVID funds to help with the town. It might have been a little bit of that offset our losses right there.
There was a sale, I think it was a sales tax refund. Or
Yeah,
that
there was
businesses
something.
didn't have to pay sales tax for a certain amount of time during COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on then. So yeah, you have a little.
Fair enough.
Anybody else?
Nope. Thanks, Larry. All right. East Grand Fire Protection District number 4 update. Todd Holsworth.
Good evening, trustees. Todd Holsworth, East Grand Fire District Chief. Chief Souls, Assistant Chief Fire Marshal, just came in as well. And perfect. They're up there and running for us. I'll try to breeze through this pretty quick. Hopefully you can read the finer print if you want as you go through. So this is a end of the year report. Put it together mostly for the public and officials to take a look at. So we are a district. We have a board of directors. Our board is Garth Hine as president. Don Murray is our vice president. Rachel Hoytch is treasurer. Rick Kramer is secretary, and then Ryan Barwick is a member at large. We have our pension trustees that help us run our pension for our volunteers, Blaine Faulkner and Brendan McGrath. And then the rest of us are the office as Jed Henry, our volunteer coordinator, myself, Ryan Maury is assistant fire marshal, Kristen Ryby is our office manager, Dennis Souls is our fire marshal, Steve Waldorf is our training coordinator. We did just add a new employee, Ricardo Loza just came on this past week, so we have one more running around the office as well, getting him worked in. If you're not familiar with the district, we are about 208 square miles, covers the majority of the Fraser Valley. There's the notch that comes in from the Grand Fire Protection District. That's the upper part of the Highlands. We cover pretty much the lower part of it, wraps around that. And of course, goes over the towns of Winter Park and Fraser, and then Cabernash is a unincorporated village, right? So our big news for the year is our Old Town Station. We got underway, our Station 3. We broke ground on June the 5th of last year. The contractor, Big Valley, Mun Architecture, Core Engineering, Grand County EMS all came up to help us do that with our district board members. The Lone Tree parking lot is not the Lone Tree parking lot anymore. So we closed Old Town Drive on the 31st of May, then reopened it on July the 13th, or actually the 18th. Got that back open. I got all our deep utilities up the hill, got our building pads in, and then concrete forms September 17th, poured on the 22nd, and we just kept right on going. We're able to get quite a bit done over the winter. The scaffolding that was up over the winter, they were doing block work inside that. The last concrete of the year was December 7th, but the block work continued. Our planned completion date is December of this year. Still have the COVID year in there and all the other funds we have. That was a hell of a year for us, I will say that. That was our big structure fire on Braidwood, had our first fire fatality that we know of since sometime in the 20s or 30s, which was a fire here in Fraser. Had 2 fatalities at that time. We had one from the Braidwood fire. Hopefully we will never have another one, but you know, people don't always pay attention to what I want. Anyway, that was also East Troublesome. We had the Williams Fork fire that year, west of us all summer long. And then of course the East Troublesome started later in the year. None of those fires actually entered our district. So we essentially, we didn't have a wildfire in our district that year. We just were completely surrounded and helped others with them. And our troops certainly did a tremendous job helping Grand Lake Fire for the East Troublesome blow up. So we are a Title 32 special district with the folks that I've mentioned already. We have 35 as of basically last year. We had about 35 volunteers for the year, including volunteer firefighters and officers. We did have one relatively small structure fire in Fraser. Well, technically it was in Grand County. It was over at Waterside. Other than that, it was a relatively quiet year for fires, but we did have a lot of calls. So we almost broke 500, didn't quite make it. We were about 493 for the year with all kinds of responses. I mean, we go to everything. So if you like our trucks, that's our fleet. Everything from the big ladder tower 491 down to Bob the Bobcat. So wildland trucks, tenders to haul water, and then the engines that do most of the work. So we will be putting a new, not a new engine, we'll be relocating an engine up to the South Station to make that work for us, because they do require, and this is the next page, thank you, the fire protection insurance ratings. We do have a Class 3 for everything that has water, and then a Class 4 from the ISO Verisk company that evaluates fire, water supplies, and then our alarm systems. Hopefully everybody was able to get the information that ISO needed to them to help do that evaluation. That's in progress. We just had that done last month, right? Yeah, it was just last month. Where'd June go? So they'll be publishing a updated schedule, and that's what insurance companies use to help figure out what your charges are for fire insurance. With the Class 3 rating and then the Class 4 for the non-watered areas, we're basically in the top 10% of the nation's departments to get that rating. And there's a bar chart that breaks that out. Hopefully, if you have any other questions, there's plenty of places you can get to get more information about that. And of course, we always defer to your insurance agent to figure out what you might actually get for stuff. So financial information, our revenues are actually, of course, this year went up a bit with the change in assessed valuations. They went up a little bit last year, but not as much. Of course, our expenses have definitely gone up with the new construction at the station. So our fund balances will be going down, as I think your treasurer or your financial person mentioned. When you have big expenses, it's funny what the fund balances do. You know, we're still able to keep upgrading. We were able to upgrade our air packs in the last few years. Bought a new Type 6 truck that's a wildfire engine specific to that. Yep, just trying to keep up. So we'll see what the fall brings with the election season and the various initiatives and referendums that are coming up, all of which potentially can impact our revenue stream in ways we are just going to have to figure out. We just don't know yet. So I did mention our pension fund, our pension trustees and our pension fund. So the pension board is made up of our directors of the district, plus the 2 additional firefighters. One's retired, the other one is an active firefighter. Right now, we've got about 37 pensioners and survivor pensioners, either a spouse or I don't think we have any kids, just spouses, I think. So $300 if you get 10 years of time volunteering, and that vests you at a half pension. If you can get a full 20 years in, you get $600 for our volunteers. And then from 10 to 20, it prorates 1/20th as for each additional year you get. And that's a fund that's managed by the Fire Police Pension Association. And we work with them, and they issue the checks and do the actuarial studies and all the work to make that happen. So impact fees, we're still getting impact fees in. Actually, it's been pretty busy the last week or so. Kristen's been having to go to the bank occasionally. We will be using up most of that fund to help pay for the new station. Maybe not all of it, but most of it. Something to let you know about, we do have a new law that was passed, Senate Bill 24-194. It'll allow us to do a couple things. One is we will be able to have the opportunity to go to the voters and request a sales tax for funding fire districts. It'll be the process similar to what you would use to change your sales tax or increase it. We have to go to a vote of the people for the district. And the other part of that law that was passed is it changed the rules on how we do impact fees. We will no longer have to come back and talk to Fraser, Winter Park, and the county. We are allowed to do it on our own. So we still have to do the nexus study, still have to do all the same things, but we don't have to do what I refer to as the mother may I to be able to do impact fees. They will be our impact fees, not your impact fees that we were allowed to collect. So that's a change in the law that occurred. And we are in the process of doing our nexus study again. Last one was about 5 years ago, and then things got weird there for a little while. So we just stayed with what we had for this past 5 years. We will be doing a new nexus study, and it does certainly requires us to get input from the fire district, I'm sorry, from the towns and the county, but we are able to do it on our own. We don't have to get you guys to approve it. So that's a change in the law, and that's it was with Senate Bill 24-194. Dennis can talk about this part, right? Yeah, that's so the 2023 Fire Prevention Bureau report. If you look through there, we have some really great charts that Dennis and Ryan put together. You can see how it breaks out for the different activities they do. The print's a little small, but you know, the inspections, this is a breakout of the inspections they do and plan reviews. All the way, I think the biggest one is what the just general inspections, general occupancy inspections is the biggest one, then a lot smaller ones. The next page actually has the different types of alarms broken out, so a little different way to look at it. Yeah, they stay very busy. Ryan and Dennis are out a lot in the community doing these inspections or plan reviews. Ryan does most of the wildfire I'm sorry, and development in the wildfire reviews to help Dennis out. So they both stay very busy. Ricardo will be helping them a lot with particularly the short-term rentals reviews that we're going to be doing. And I think we're going to try to get the county going here shortly, and then we'll roll Fraser in next, and then Winter Park will be in after that as the towns are doing their various short-term rental programs. So, but that's our plan for that. And Ricardo will definitely be a big help on that. I think you can go a little bit. So if you want to look at the bottom of this one, so Winter Park, looks like Winter Park and Fraser kind of swapped a little bit there, but the number of inspections, Fraser's definitely has a big chunk of them. Tabernash doesn't have a whole lot, but you know, that's all right. So 2023, Fraser definitely jumped up. I think that was mostly with the new building, probably. The new I'm sorry, what's it, the new big one over here. Sorry, I'm a rainbow. Yes, yeah, the Gosley, yeah, yeah, Gosley, yeah. That's probably the one that drove that up more this year. So some of the other things the Fire Inspection Bureau does is hydrant testing, the wildfire mitigation, either projects or review for properties. By complaints normally for safety violations, we're not normally out looking for them unless we come upon them in just our normal activities, which we will do because something has gone wrong and the fire department gets called and we'll find issues. Do a certain amount of origin and cause investigations, although we don't have a whole lot of fires of that nature, but we do occasionally. Fire pump testing, generally that's in some of the bigger structures. I don't think Fraser's got too many fire pumps at this point, but that's just something normally will help witness it. And then, of course, the new construction in the various areas. We are very involved with a lot of other agencies, including yourselves for fire code enforcement, mutual aid agreements for fire protection. We are involved, of course, with the auto aid agreements with Grand Fire. We both automatically respond to different parts of our district, so we back each other up. All fire districts in the county have a mutual aid agreement between each other. And then we also are members of the, refer to it as MAMA, the mutual aid, mountain area mutual aid for along the I-70 corridor and up into northwest Colorado. And that's the mountain area mutual aid. We'll also be involved with what was called the WIN program. Now it's called CMAS, which is the Colorado Mutual Aid System. And that's to try to help on a bigger scale, bring in additional resources. These are not federal, like wildfire type things, which is a different program. This would be for the state of Colorado and should be all hazard, all risk. So hazmat issue, structure fires, mass casualty, anything like that, we should be able to access through that. We're also involved, the fire districts, the 3 eastern fire districts, Grand Lake, Grand, and East Grand are involved with the county for the Colorado's, the Headwaters Rescue Group. And we are developing better water resources to be able to do recoveries or searches for incidents involving drownings in water or recoveries in water areas. So that's the big piece of equipment we have right now is the ROV, the underwater ROV. Training goes on with that to be able to operate it. It's got a grappling arm, it's got sonar, and it's got a visual camera as well as lighting on it. And it was used last November for the drowning up on Lake Granby late in the year, which is a very cold time to be on the lake. Just hasn't frozen yet. Okay, so for incidents, we did go to 493 calls last year, just over 4,000 hours of time donated or provided by the firefighters and officers. About a 20% increase over 2022 for 2023. I got that. The next sheet shows a breakout of the different types of calls we do. This is based off of our existing National Fire Incident Reporting System, NFIRS. NFIRS is about to go away and it'll have the new NERIS system starting next year, which is the National Emergency Incident Reporting System. So NFIRS unfortunately has gotten very clunky, old, worn out. It doesn't work very well. It's got a lot of issues with it. It's being completely replaced by the new NERIS system, which we will have to be on by first quarter of next year. So not a lot of time to get it figured out, but we're getting it figured out. So this will look different next year. I'm not sure exactly how. But you can see we do a lot of alarm calls for buildings with sprinklers and fire alarms and carbon monoxide calls, either failures, malfunctions in some cases. We did a great job of getting CO detectors in buildings and homes. We didn't do a very good job of teaching people how to deal with CO alarms when they're not working right. Or quite frankly, even when they're going off properly. You know, we got them in the houses. We just haven't done as good a job teaching people how to take care of them. So that's causes some issues at times. And they're in a failure mode or they're at end of life and people think they're alarms or whatever. Well, guess what? We'll come and help them figure it out. Training is a big part of what we do. There's 4 more training nights a month. There's live fire, driver operator, auto extrication, medical, hazardous materials, air packs, rope drills, recruit training is a big one. We just finished up our recruit class. We got 4 new recruits on board. They all seem like great guys. A lot of different subject matters. We can't hardly begin to cover all of it. Live fire is probably the one that the gang likes the most. They like to burn stuff up. So unfortunately, we have to do it in a simulated mode in our burn building. Causes some things that it can teach bad habits if you're not careful. So we need to put this way, real fires don't go out as easily as the simulated fires. Amazing how that works. So, but we put a lot of time and effort into it. You know, thousands and thousands of hours. So I think we're calling for, let's see, this year we were showing 2,870 hours of available training time. And then to wind up our other activities, I said we were involved with the getting the short-term rental stuff up and running, the Headwaters Rescue Authority, you know, having fun with the families. We try to do multiple family events with the spouses and kids and significant others and all of our members. We generally, of course, Christmas party, we have an appreciation dinner. Usually over the summer, we do something as well. And then just general activities. We'll probably be over at the July 4th parade in Granby again, we hope. But things like testing hose is it's a full day effort just to test all the fire hose we have, which is about 14,000 feet of it we test in one day. Have a company that comes in and helps us with that. Has a very safe system to use to test the hose. And, you know, rodeo ground, we give rides on family night. Try to keep it as quick as I could to keep you guys on track. Do you have any questions for me or any concerns you'd like to bring up that we can talk about or?
I've had something.
Yes, sir.
So I brought this up, I talked to Dennis about it last week. There's a big bunch of brush and wood up by the railroad tracks that I brought up it once before, nothing
Yeah.
ever happened with that.
Yeah, and I know we've gotten that message and we've looked at it. Unfortunately, it appears, I think what we've decided is that's actually on railroad property. At least parts of it are. The others on others, we're not. You know, we can jawbone them to a certain extent, but there isn't a lot we can just force them to do it. We have our burn season for slash piles. If someone does not want to do it, there isn't a whole lot we can do to get them to do it. You know, you can argue a pile is a pile. Okay, if in that pile it isn't going to do much. I mean, if somebody ignites it, it's going to burn up. And if it's in dry conditions, yes, it could be very serious. And it just, you know, we don't have a lot of tools we can use to cite or to enforce that that's a dangerous situation, because unless it's actually on fire, it's basically just a pile of wood. Yeah, I wish I could say more on that and figure out something to do it. I mean, it's one of those things. And did we figure out whose property that was, Dennis?
Yeah, I can show you. Can I?
Yeah.
It is Union Pacific.
Yeah.
I've kind of dug into it. Union Pacific has said that they have not had anyone up there to clear anything.
Yeah.
And so those piles were not done by Union Pacific. We asked, you know, the developer of Grand Park if he did it, and he said no, but he said that he would take care of it. So I guess we'll see if that happens. But it is on Union Pacific.
Yeah, I tell you what, I can make one more shot to talk to some of the UP folks maybe and see if they would do something. But you know, there's yeah, you can't do much on railroad ground, as you guys know, without absolute, complete, and total blessing from them to do anything. So for us to go in and burn it or anything like that is just not too realistic at this point.
Well, I'm trying to share the pictures. I went up there today and took pictures of it. I think what happened is developer at Grand Park cleared a bunch of the deadfall and piled it up on Union Pacific property. So it's on railroad property from what I can tell, but it was stacked up by the developer. And I was told a couple of years ago that they were going to remove that, and nothing's happened. You know, it is on a curve, but this, you know, if it sparks and starts a fire, it's right next to the condos, and it's a huge. I mean, you've been up there. There's not just one little brush pile. There's a lot, and like, somebody needs to mitigate it, either the railroad or the developer. I know you don't have a lot of authority to.
Well, basically, we have very little authority on railroad ground is their industrial park. I mean, it's their ground. And, you don't do anything within those right of ways without their approval and, blessing. And, I can give it another shot as far as looking at, our basic contact is with some of their hazmat people. That's where we get most of our contact with the railroad. Other than that, I'm pretty sure the section foreman is not gonna have any resources to deal with it and isn't gonna want to, quite frankly. He's got enough fun just keeping the railroad straight, the rails on.
So if they don't have the ability to clear it, wouldn't they take the help of the developer or town or something?
So we can make another run at it. It's just anything occurring within their property, they're gonna want like sign offs and insurance and all the, I mean, what you had to go through to get your boring under the railroad, for example, is almost easier maybe. I don't know. It's
Right.
hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it just, yeah. There are concerned neighbors up there that are reaching out to me almost on a daily basis, so I would love to see those piles go away, so
Yeah.
one way or
We
another.
can't just call them wildlife piles and get away with it probably,
Yeah,
I can try to talk to their hazmat people and maybe they know somebody within the railroad that can help out, but
Well, if it's adjacent to private land, then it's clear that that was placed from timbers that were on the private land. The railroad should be able to hold that landowner responsible for removal. But if they want to take the time to do it, that's another question.
Yeah.
But if there was a big fire up there and it's that close to the tracks, it could compromise the steel on the tracks, and that would be a serious safety issue. And that could be a sell to the railroad. Having
Yeah.
their attorneys follow up with the landowner.
yeah, it's
Maybe.
possible. The guy that's our hazmat guy, with them, we can give him a call. Maybe he has some thoughts on it,
Yeah.
but it's certainly an awkward situation. We just don't have a lot of tools to deal with it when somebody makes a pile like that.
Yeah.
right.
And yes, I mean, the fire, as far as the fire going from there to the railroad, they keep their right of way pretty clear for that 20, 30 feet on either side that, any fire would have more like, I think all the trees have pretty much fallen down that were gonna fall down, at least on the railroad. They've taken care of most of those. This area just, somebody went further for their clearing than they were supposed to by their contract probably.
Yeah, I think that's likely the case. How many volunteers do you guys have?
So last year we had about 35. Right now, I think we are about 36 or 37. So we have some come, some go, some retire. So I think we're in volunteer. And then we have right now 7 full-time positions.
Great. Any other questions, folks?
So where's this new fire station? We're talking about building a new fire station.
Oh, it's being built. It's underway right now. It's at the Lakota intersection on what used to be called the Lone Tree parking lot for the ski area.
Oh, okay, that one, okay.
Yep.
So you're gonna have two
And take the
fire
right hand
stations.
turn.
We have 3.5 actually. We have 3.5. We have Station 2 is the Tabernash Station headquarters. Station 3 or South Station, I haven't totally decided what to call it yet. I don't think I'm going to call it the Old Town Station, but it's on Old Town Drive. And then we share the station with Grand Fire Protection District at the entrance to the Y Camp. So that's the Red Dirt Hill Station. So Grand Fire and East Grand Fire, we each have a half share of that station. And then we both keep equipment in that station. We keep a tender and a wildland unit, and Grand Fire keeps an engine, a Type 1 engine, and there's usually a Type 6 engine or a pickup in there as well. So there's 3 to 4 vehicles in that station. And there's resident quarters on that station as there are on the other stations. Yep. So we are, we've got a few more residents in the program. So headquarters has 6 bedrooms for residents. Tabernash has 3 bedrooms. We have a couple that's living in it at the moment, except I believe they got one of the new houses in the auction or the competition for getting the homes. So they were able to get one. So they'll be moving out here shortly, and we'll hopefully have some new folks move in. The new station at the area, I mean, we built that station at the area. That's a 50-year station. So we built quite a few resident quarters or bedrooms into it. kitchen area, work areas, you know, a little gymnasium, and then a little bit larger bay area than Tabernash, because we figure, you know, there's going to be a lot of activity up that way as well. So, and, you know, 50 years from now, our headquarters station, Tabernash Station, those are 40 years old right now. So it's amazing how quickly 50 years will go by. So that's what it's being built for. And they're going to town. They're putting concrete veneer block on the outside, and the inside's about half drywalled at the moment. They're doing the half drywall so they can finish the backside with electrical and plumbing and all that. Should be insulating and doing the other half of the drywall in the next week or 2 weeks maybe. Outside should finish up pretty quick when they get that block up, and then there's will be siding on parts of it. So it'll be changing its appearance pretty quickly. Won't have that yellow foam facing the highway for too much longer. At least it's yellow foam. It's not white foam. Okay.
Some call it white.
Anyway. Yeah, that'll be cut. That's got a black, I believe, a black steel siding on that area, if I remember right. And then around the doors and all will be a polished concrete block. Looks pretty good. They got about the backside. They've got it about got about a third of it up on the north doors right now. So,
Great.
and the roof's on. That's the main thing right now. The roof is
Yeah.
on and
That's
working.
big.
Yes.
That's
It
right.
was a little touch and go there off and on during the springtime, but they got the roof figured out, got it on.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Right.
You
That's
bet.
a great
Appreciate your time.
presentation. Thank
How
you.
much
Okay.
cool.
You guys have copies of it. If you need paper copies, I can certainly get those. Otherwise,
Still not board.
I believe, I keep forgetting to get a couple over to the library because she likes to put some out over there.
You have
So-
paper copies on you or no?
Not on me, but,
It's okay.
okay.
Cubby just likes the trucks, but it's fine. I'll show him.
Well, I could give you this one
You
because
have
this is the last presentation.
All right.
There you
So
go.
I don't have to have this one anymore. Where is it? I get it. I got it in here somewhere.
Now,
Or you can go on. I don't know. I got it in there somewhere. Where'd it go? Oh, I know. Hang on. There it is.
well, geez, gosh,
Dollar.
cool.
It's got some orange markings on it. That's okay.
Cover up.
And the old Fraser pump, just to let you know, the old Fraser pumper, we did take that. So our antique truck was the old Fraser fire truck. And we took that down to Arapahoe Community College. They had a fire muster down there from the Mile High Hook and Ladder Club. Not this week, previous weekend, right? Yeah, not last weekend. Other than it being about 99 degrees down there in that big parking lot, the old truck for 94 years old was outperforming some of the newer ones that were not happy with that heat down there. And the old Fraser pumper was doing just great. We were giving rides because one of the trucks that was giving rides puked out, quite frankly. And it was a much newer truck than ours. So yeah, a couple of us went down with the trailer and we had a great time. Had a parade through downtown Littleton and it was a beautiful morning and then it got hot. But yeah, there was probably, it was probably 20 or 30 trucks of various types and all down there. And I mean, definitely the Fraser truck the old Fraser pumper was the best of the bunch. So yeah. So
Okay,
That's great.
for a 94-year-old, it's doing great.
all right.
Right.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Resolution 2024-0606 ballot question to move the regular municipal election to November in even numbered years. And that is, thanks, guys.
Okay, so I am proposing to move the regular municipal elections from April of even numbered years to November of even numbered years so that we can coordinate the election with the county. This does require a ballot question, and this actually, the first step is the board to approve the resolution, if that's what the board chooses, if that's your desire. The second would be the voters of Fraser actually have to approve the ballot question in order for that to be moved. It does have to be voter approved. So I'm proposing the question that's on the resolution for this November's election. And the question is very simple. It says, shall the town of Fraser's regular elections be moved from the first Tuesday of April in each even numbered year to the Tuesday succeeding the first Monday of November in each even numbered year? And the reason that I'm proposing to do that is because elections, they take a tremendous amount of time to prepare. And it is a pretty decent cost for the town to do the elections. It does take about 6 months to prepare an election. I do start in November for the April elections. So it does take me quite a bit of time to prepare, for the elections. And then, I have talked to the county clerk. They've said yes, that they would coordinate the elections with us. So that has been cleared with the county already. And, so if we decide, if this would pass, the town will do a special election at any time if they needed to, outside of our regular election. So that's still a possibility. If there was any other election that would fall under the Colorado Revised statutes to do an election, we would still hold a special election if we would need to appoint, if we had a resignation from the easy to decide not to appoint, we could do a special election that would still be the town clerk. And, let's see. If this would pass, it basically, because the election your term would end in April, it would push the term expiration to the November of that year. You can never shorten the term of a trustee or a mayor's term, but you can only lengthen it. So it is something to consider, is that your current sitting term would extend by those months. So that's something to think about. I think this last election, because we ran 2 simultaneous elections, would never do that again. It was just way too much work. It was really, really hard, took a ton of time. But I think this last election, I don't have an exact dollar amount, but it probably cost the town at least $10,000. We did probably 3 or 4 different mailings. Most of it was this special election to do house. That DDA election, the county could have never done that election. That still would have had to have resided here. So there could be potential elections in the future that couldn't be done by the county. But this would really just be for the municipal seats for the mayor and the trustees election is really what that's for. Questions for me?
Do other ballot initiatives that occur on that election date? I mean, if there was a mill levy or something like that, is it?
So
We then run that and then the county runs?
no, not necessarily. If you're doing if it's a mill levy, it's a taxing, so that's it's a Tabor question. So that actually has to be done there's only specific elections you can do a Tabor question on, which is a general election, the November general election. And I think there's one other election that you can do a Tabor question on. So you can't do a special election for a Tabor question.
You got it. So
Yeah.
a lot of things that we might be asking for would be on that, run by the county.
Would still be on, would be a coordinated election with the county.
Okay.
And the nice thing about that is the county would print all the ballots. Your town clerk would approve it to form. So what it would look like on that ballot is still down here in town hall. And then the ballots would be printed by the county, mailed along with a question on the big ballot. And then they would tally all the votes. They have the Dominion machines. I mean, their tallies are done within minutes of the polls closing. It's amazing. Yeah. So I would still have to do, create petitions, check all the petitions. So there still is a lot of in-house stuff that has to be done still, before that election. So that stuff would still occur here. I can help people register to vote, but like day of elections, we couldn't have people come in and vote here. Like that just wouldn't even be an option. Because I wouldn't have ballots that people could vote. So that they would still have to go to the county. So that's another service that the town wouldn't be able to do if the election was coordinated with the county.
How many
How
people
often
came
does
to
that-
vote last time?
We had about 500 voters last time, 400 or
In
500
person,
voters.
Did any come in?
Say it again.
In person, did there? was
So the
there-
majority of people came in for the DDA, the special election.
Right. and-
Most elections, so that was my 3rd election I've done. In general, we've had less than a dozen people come in to vote the day of. So it's a very small number of people that actually come into town hall to vote on election day. And I think too, coordinating with the county, it has a potential to have a higher voter turnout because people are already voting. They don't have that one single ballot for Fraser, but it's for all of the ballots for everything going on. So I think
Right.
it's potential for that also.
Yeah, probably get more votes, actually.
I think so. I think more people would
More
vote.
people would vote.
Yeah.
Great.
So I did make one mistake on this memo. So it does have on the backside of that memo when everybody's terms would expire. And Adams actually would expire in 2026 instead of 2028 because he was appointed to his seat. So he fills that vacancy that Nat resigned until the next election. So you technically have a 2-year term and then there would
Unless
be a
we
2-year
pass it.
term.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but you can run again in 2 years.
There was also, the word November was spelled wrong in the actual verbiage that would go on the ballot.
Or was it
Yeah, first Monday of
November? Oh, it is
November.
on the.
So we just want to correct that when
Yeah. Definitely.
when someone makes a motion. What do you think, guys?
I think it's a great idea.
I think it sounds like a good plan.
Well, it sounds.
Yeah.
Why does it have to go to the voters?
Because that's what the Colorado Revised statutes say. Because it's written in the statutes, because it's really for the vote of the people. It's what are the residents of the town, what do they want?
Mhm.
So that's why, and Granby already coordinates their elections with the county also. So we wouldn't be the first town to do it. I don't think Kremling does. I think Granby is the only one right now that does it.
Or you have a campaign in the fall.
I was literally just gonna say that.
Sure.
So much easier.
Absolutely.
I have a really long term for only getting elected once. Then appointed and then
Yeah,
Sorry, you just can't leave.
it's fine.
Well, like six more months.
Yeah.
Roughly.
How'd you get a 10-year term?
How did I get a 10-year term? I like it. This saves the town money and more people will vote. I like it.
I think it's a great idea.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-0606 ballot question to move the regular municipal election to November in every even numbered years with the edit of the word November in the actual ballot language.
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I,
opposed? All right. Thanks, Antoinette.
Welcome. So the public hearing, that's the next thing on the schedule, is not scheduled till 7 PM. So we have about 15 minutes before we can start that public hearing.
Okay.
Gotcha. We'll adjourn for 15 minutes.
We could do the updates now.
Yeah, I guess we could. All right. We'll cruise on to updates. Anybody have updates? Okay.
One update, the CNL chemical grouting CIP project has already been started and completed. It was done in 3 days. And so far we've seen a reduction of I&I in that line of 2/3. So
Wow.
seems to work really well. It's not to say that we won't get an I&I right at the railroad due to that line, but and it came in 30,000 under budget. So saved a lot of money and it appears to be working very well. So I'll be looking to replicate this next year through the rest of the board.
What is I&I?
Infiltration and intrusion. So groundwater that's coming into the lines or through the basically into cracks in the line or through the taps into the service line. So we chemical grouted everything. The grout went out of the pipes and into the soil, and the soil helped seal it. So we've already seen a significant reduction in flows in that pipe. And that was our worst pipe in town. So
And this is water or sewer?
sewer.
Are we monitoring the line across the, for an aggregate of what's back here and those reductions? Are we just not measuring the individual?
So we just
lines?
measured that line, and then we're Joe's gonna let us know as he sees at the plant the reduction in I&I next high water season.
Yeah.
We just had to wait till high water went down a little bit, so. Seemed to be successful and saved significant amount of money over tearing up the alley and redoing everything.
So does the water just come in the line or does it actually, does sewer go out?
No, it just comes in. It still flows down, but it's coming in from where the services are connected. It's leaking around that or where the joints are put together in the pipe. So it's still flowing down, but water is coming in from the top.
And that all depends on the water table level. It exits if the water table's lower than the
I'm just wondering how much
sewer pipe, but it
contamination
enters if the pipe's under the water level.
from the sewer line.
Exfiltration, filtration becomes exfiltration.
So all of the
It's somewhere.
problems in the video were at the top. So normal flow, the bottom of the pipe had sealed pretty well with the last attempt. Working very well so far.
Any other updates?
We had our first meeting with the new board for the Downtown Development Authority. It was primarily educational, but it's a good group of folks. Everyone attended, several remotely, but it's a lot of work to do. Sarah's rocking it, keeping us, lined up with the information that we need to move ahead on it, and we'll be working on our plan of development. That's going to be our priority, because you can't start the TIF clock until that has been submitted. So probably be another month or two, but it's a priority. And with these plans, plan of development, it's general, it's not detailed. It's not like we're going to do this, we're going to do this project, we're going to do this project. It's much more broadly scoped. So transportation, multimodal transportation would be something that we want to fund. So down 20 years from now, we have people in hovercrafts, something like that, we could do something to support that. So it was exciting, and people were, I think, pumped to be there, and we're going to shoot for meeting every 2 weeks initially, and then that'll back off once we get it dialed in. Then we'll just have to wait for the TIF funds to come in. But there are, for those of you that went to the conference SDA, there's these ballot questions coming up that would affect property tax collection in the state of Colorado, and it's convoluted and it's a little spooky, and you can only increase property values by X amount of dollars. I'm totally fuzzy on it. But if those pass, that increment may not be as significant. But I believe it primarily affects existing buildings on properties versus new development. So
It
long
was
time.
initiative 50. And it basically says that an increase in property tax of more than 4%, it would require a voter approval to keep. And so basically it would just kind of hamstring every DDA out there. I mean, it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So hopefully
And it
we'll just
was
keep our
based
eyes-
on projected
projected property
property
increases.
values
value
versus
increases.
actuals from the past. It's
Mhm.
a can of worms.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's bad.
That for commercial and residential, this bill? I'm not so familiar with it.
I'm not sure, but I think it is. I think it's for both. I didn't hear them delineating.
Yeah, I didn't write down that there was a difference, so.
Yeah, I didn't bring those notes. But it's exciting, and it's a good group and smart people and a lot of local business owners, and
Did you guys appoint,
we did not appoint officers yet.
Okay.
Hopefully at the next meeting we will.
yeah, the other one to watch out for is Initiative 108. It's just another really bad, yeah, statutory amendment. So anyway, we'll keep our eyes on those to make sure they don't see the light of day, I guess, as best we can from Fraser. What else? Any other updates?
But you want to mention the meeting last night, the Mountain Railroad Coalition that Brian and I actually attended. It's pretty interesting. It's moving pretty fast. But I think what's important for the town now is they're in the phase of deciding which stations are going to be in play. And I think we need to do our best to advocate for having a stop in Fraser. I assume they're going to want to have one at Winter Park. lot of stations along the way, and some will make it and some won't. And they talked about actually, they had one slide that had some criteria on what they would consider in terms of, picking stations along the way. But it's really pretty interesting, starting in Union Station, then going into Arvada, and then there's a station near Eldora that they were really advocating to connect to the line, and then of course it's going to go to Steamboat, but and I found out that the train does deviate around Bond is where it heads north towards Steamboat, but it will continue towards Hayden and Craig. So I think, we need to do as much as we can as a town to advocate to have Fraser's, one of the stops along the way, so.
Absolutely, because it won't be Fraser and Winter Park, it'll be one or the other.
I think it could be.
I think it could be, because
Oh,
most of the people that are coming up here to stay, residential places are in Fraser, in this area. Whereas the Winter Park stop is really the resort.
yeah, I was thinking well, we'll see what they have
Yeah.
to say.
But anyway, we need to probably be proactive about that and advocating for Fraser to be a stop along the way.
Yeah, right.
Well, when are they making that decision?
Well, they're putting together their, I forget what they call it, special development plan, and they're gonna have that wrapped up by the end of the year. Realistically, I think 4 or 5 years before it'll be in operation, but sort of now is a time where they're sort of picking the route and picking the stations along the way. I wish we could get a copy of that presentation. There's a lot of good information in there.
You said there's criteria. Is it a scoring?
I'm sorry.
Are they scoring based on that criteria?
Yeah, I mean, there
Or
was
are there
a
things we can
number
do to
of
position
criteria
ourselves?
listed on this slide. They didn't really, go into much detail
Okay.
on how they're gonna score it. But, like the guy from the Eldora Ski Resort jumped in kind of right away and was advocating. There's a stop in, it's I can't remember the name of the town, but it's on like the east portal side of Moffett Tunnel.
Huh.
And he said it was 8 miles from Eldora. And they wanted to have a stop there because it would essentially connect 3 ski resorts. There, Winter Park, and Steamboat.
Great.
But if we can get a copy, we'll see if we can get a copy of that presentation and get it to everyone on the board.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, so WSP won the contract for the service development plan for this. So that's who's analyzing the stops and everything. That is the same company that's helping with the town gondola project. And so the guy who was there, John, mentioned that he was going to be working both projects basically. So that all the connections can be made and advocated for. Winter Park is very, very involved in this, and we are kind of loosely involved. So we do need to make sure that we don't lose our stop because of their involvement. But I think the stations are close enough together, and I think the train wouldn't be going faster. It wouldn't stop in Winter Park Resort and then get up to 50 miles an hour through Fraser. They would keep it slow. So I don't think it makes, I think it makes sense to keep both because it just kind of bookends the valley.
I've got something real quick that popped in my mind when we were talking about no Alpine slide. We could get a carnival, some kind of carnival rides to set up in the Fraser Open Space Park, and have some of those spin around fun wild rides or something. You can see it from the highway, and if people
Summer
are coming to ride the
Counties.
slide and they don't have anything wild to get on, it just crossed my mind. But they're not gonna stop here if they don't see something to do, So,
Are you thinking like by the Lions Ponds?
yeah, down by the line spots. Down there. It's just food for thought. I don't know, but
Slide into the
if
pond.
anybody's got a Barney connection, it's that time of the year.
I think you let the word out and the carnies will come out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's just, that was just a thought I had, but we could come up with something fun. It would be really active for people to do that.
And I
Yeah.
will say that I've not heard from the Zope Circus this year, so I don't know if they're coming to town or not. I feel like I usually would have heard from them by now.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So I
think
don't
they
know.
used to do every other year, did they? Or was it every?
They did every
Pretty
year.
much every year, yeah. Mhm.
Well, the space what they've used is kind of full of construction materials now.
Seems like the half that they used is still open, you know?
And prior to that, they were down in the village.
Right. Yep.
We've been in several spots in the county.
Yeah.
Mhm. My kids were excited about circus camp, so I hope they come back.
Okay.
Let's see. I have an update. I was just before this meeting at an art center fundraiser, helping Steve Fitzgerald motivate people to join the what is it? Some circle, founders circle.
Good
Um,
turnout.
it was a good turnout. Yeah, we probably had 40 people there and
Awesome.
didn't have capacity for much more. So
Great.
it was good. He told me as I was coming here that feels like he's got about a half dozen really good leads from that event. So
Great.
that's good news. Any other updates? Well, you guys successfully filled the time at 7 o'clock. So we can,
Mr. Roy Akers, are you here for the Lions Club? Perfect.
okay. Well, I would entertain a motion to suspend the Board of Trustees meeting and open the Liquor and Beer Licensing Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. This is a public hearing before the Board of Trustees of the Town of Fraser, acting as the local liquor licensing authority for the Town of Fraser, to determine whether the application for a special event permit shall be granted to the Fraser Valley Lions Club on July 28th, 2024, from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. in Old Schoolhouse Park. The purpose of this hearing is to receive information, data, and testimony by any interested parties in order to enable the local liquor licensing authority to make findings and reach conclusions required to be made by state law as to whether or not the application should be approved or denied. The town clerk will give a summary of the application and relevant materials. All testimony will be given under oath. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing regarding the special event permit application for Fraser Valley Lions Club.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
So the Fraser Valley Lions Club has applied for a special event permit. They do want to hold an event here in Old Schoolhouse Park in July. It's the last Sunday in July. And because this is town property, this does have to come before the board for approval. So they did submit their application on June 12th. They paid all the fees in full. They did submit a full application, and they did include their certificate of insurance naming the town as an additional insured. They propose to have music in the park. They want to serve wine, beer, and then sodas, non-alcoholic beverages also. And then they also want to have beers and brats to serve food in the town. They will kind of set up along the road is where they propose to put the tents for the food and the beverage to serve out of there. We will close down the park for the event, obviously, and because it ends at 8, we won't be going past quiet hours for the town of Fraser. It has been posted out at Town Hall for 10 days, required by the Colorado Revised Statutes, and was posted in the newspaper also, and that proof of publication was also provided in the packet. So
So is
everybody,
it Leonard Lane or the road? You say they're going to close the road?
no,
Or
it's
center
been
of the road?
posted. No, we'll close just right here, right in front of Town Hall, right on Fraser Avenue.
Okay.
Just pretty much like we do for picnic in the park. Put a couple cones out so that
Okay.
nobody parks there. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
So I think, so people could still drive through.
Yes, we're not gonna close any of the roads. We're not proposing to do that. We are proposing to maybe put the message boards up at each in a town like we have done for like the fundraiser that the school did. So the boards aren't being used by the town. We'll advertise that event on their behalf for them, to try to bring people in. They were, and I'll let Joe speak to this, but they've lost a big fundraising effort with the campgrounds, and I'll let Joe speak to that a little bit, as to why they're continuing to try to do another fundraiser for the Lions Club. And then they'll have volunteers. What they'll do is they'll close off the park, to make sure that nobody enters or exits with alcoholic beverages, which is volunteers from the Lions Club. That's really all I have. Do you have any questions for me? No, I'll bring up Joe and I'll swear Joe in, and we'll let you give a little, your spiel, what you would like to say to the board. So just hold your hand up. Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, help you God. You do. Perfect. Thank you. This is Joe Roykers. He's our applicant.
You have to use the microphone because
Stand at
the
gotta
world
stand
is
at the mic.
listening, Joe. You're good with the microphone.
Perfect. I've used microphones before. So our Lions Club is trying to find creative ways to make up the $40,000 in revenue that we've lost due to the fact that we no longer manage the campgrounds.
Can you tell us the story behind that?
I'll tell you what I know, Katie,
Yep.
for sure. We had to upgrade to be able to link into the National Forest System Reservation program. I can't remember what the numbers were. It seems like it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not sure, but it was something that we just couldn't do. And so it's a major loss for us to try and figure out where are we going to make up 40 grand. And we certainly don't think we're going to make up 40 grand that day out here in the park, but it'd be nice if we made up 4. We got to start somewhere. And so that was the idea behind it. Another Lions Club member approached me. I have Joe R in the Icebox Band. And they approached me and said, would you be willing to do a fundraiser for us? And I said, yes. And I have lots of musical friends in the community. Peggy Mann stepped up and said she would get involved. We have 3 local brewers that are donating the beer. We have 3 local liquor stores that are donating the wine.
Great.
And we have raised about $3,500 so far in sponsorships. I think that's about what we're going to get. We hope that we can keep maybe 2 grand of that, and probably have to spend about 1,500 to make the event work. But we looked at this park because we think it's the perfect size. Our idea is if we can put 200 people in the park, we're saying it's a free event. We're going to pass a hat 3 times and ask for $10 a head. And so, we're hoping we can maybe make $1,500 off of people being kind and throwing into the hat. If we can make another $500 or $1,000 selling beer and food, maybe we walk out of this thing with $5,000 or so. That would be awesome.
Okay.
So that's what we're asking for. It's the first time. We're hoping maybe it wouldn't be last time, but we looked at the size of this park and we thought, based on what we see on Tuesday night, we just played here Tuesday night. So if we had that kind of crowd, we know that's about the perfect size park for us. A big park empty is not good. A small park full is awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions that you guys have for me?
Campgrounds do you manage?
We did manage Idlewild, St. Louis Creek. What's the one up by the
Robbers Roost.
Robbers Roost? And then there was another one that was up towards Byers Peak, and we lost them all.
Who's taking that over?
Whatever group is, whenever you check into a National Forest Service hotel at the Grand Canyon, or if you get a burger someplace, that massive company now runs our campgrounds. It is, Kent Hughes, many of us, he forever kept those campgrounds. Once before, we thought we were going to lose the campgrounds to a local developer. And there was a proposed land swap. And Ken went to them and said, look, this is a huge revenue. The person with the Forest Service said, you do a far better job than this other company. And my dad was a lion. So this is gonna end, and the conversation ended. But now our hand was forced, and we'd really, even with the can't use, we couldn't save it.
But
That's just
who
so nice.
hires like the campground host? Was that your responsibility?
That was our responsibility. And we maintained all the toilets out there and all the tables, and we did a lot of work out there, but you know, it's kind of a fun project, but it won't be ours anymore.
It's too bad. I prefer to have local control over that, and the people that like know the area, you know, are gonna take good care of it.
What most concerns me is that we frequently, like this weekend for Blues Fest, somebody's gonna go out there and set up a tent tonight on Thursday night to make sure they're there for the weekend. If they're doing alcohol and stuff, what better place for them to be? But now it's gonna be all reserved out. That's the sad news, but
Yeah,
the good
because
news,
right, it used to be first come, first served.
yeah, it was. Yeah. And so not no more. Anyway, so that we can't do anything about. I would hope if there's ever conversation about turning that campground into a bunch of condos, that there would be a lot of noise, because that's what was proposed. And some of us in the room might know who proposed it. So I sure as hell hope that never happens.
Yeah.
You know, but here nor there, what we're really looking to do is say, is there a way that we can make up some of the money? We're trying to come up with different ideas. In the Forest Service Defense, they have offered us a contract to go up and help with the tree cutting at Christmas time. And so maybe we'll get some money out of that as well, you know? So we're looking at ways to do it. I will tell you that I have served on the scholarship committee, I think for 12 years. Our scholarships have been $1,000 a year for 4 years for 12 years. Katie knows I'm an investment advisor in town. Guess what? The cost of education has gone up a lot more, 7% per year. So we're trying to keep up these scholarships and we have less money. It's really hard. Any questions? Thanks for hearing me out, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Any questions from the public? All right. Any additional questions from the board? Okay. I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Now I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-0607.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right. Now I'll entertain a motion to close the liquor and beer licensing authority.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right. Any opposed? And I would entertain a motion to resume the Board of Trustees meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.